Hey guys, it's me, Priscilla. I just wanted to hop on and record this because it just happened this morning. It was, for those of y'all who know, I dream. God speaks to me in dreams. He also speaks in other subtle ways, the small, still voice. When you hear something that couldn't have been you. You know what I mean? When you're really seeking Him. But for the most part, the gift of dreams is definitely something that He's given me. And so what I do is, if it stands out to me, especially in the past couple years, if it's something that is really, really prominent as far as like warning dreams, end time dreams, governmental type things, I will share that if I feel led to share it. You should always pray. If you have the gift of dreams, God will show you what dreams are for sharing and what is just for you. And a lot of times, because you'll find that you'll have personal dreams about something you may be asking the Lord about for family, things of that nature, and you wind up having a dream and it's personal, something He's shown you and confirming, and things like that. You really don't need to share unless there's a specific reason He's given you to do that. But for me, I always know when it's something to share. And this morning I woke up from a dream, and let me kind of back up by saying the Lord's led me to start fasting once a week. And so once a week, every week, I'll go with no food, just water all day. And that means no coffee. That's so hard. But if I can make it through no coffee being the first thing, then I'm good. I've gotten used to not eating a lot of times, and I'm usually not even hungry till like later in the day, way later in the day. And so at that point is when it gets tough. But anyways, so the last week was the first week I started that, and I also started having people on praise and worship team, or asking them, encouraging them to do the same. Because when you really feel like God is pulling you towards a fast, you start to get disgusted by food, what you're eating, how much you're eating, and just things you're going through and not hearing anything. And then I've just been hearing the Lord. This is what I'm talking about, hearing that small, still voice, not a dream. But I hear over and over, some things only come out by prayer and fasting. Same thing He told the disciples in the Bible when they went praying over people and trying to cast out demons, and went back to Him saying, why can't we do this? Why are we unable to cast out these demons? I'm sure they were doing everything else. They were praying, they were following the Lord, and they just could not get these things out. But so I might have to do a part 2 to this, because I'm trying to talk fast and also think about everything I need to say. So anyway, He told them some things can only come out by prayer and fasting. And so there are things that we deal with, generational things that are on our bloodline that try to attack us. And some things have been around so long, passed down from family, like on your mother's 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 mother, like whoever knows what was put out there, like curses and things that people did and walked in and believed and followed. And so we're here trying to undo these things, right? And some things, even though you're following the Lord closely, you can only break these things by prayer and fasting. You have got to live a life of fasting as an intercessor, as a prophet, as an evangelist, as a pastor, a teacher, any of these things. But anyway, so I woke up this morning, day after my fast, and had this dream. Now, mind you, last week, first day of my fast, I woke up the next day with 3 dreams back to back that were prophetic, that I had went to bed crying out to God, asking him to show me some things. And I woke up with those 3 dreams after my fast. Fast forward to this week, same thing. I woke up from this dream, and in my dream I was at this place that had my car, and I was outside. I'm trying to do it without leaving out anything important. I was outside and they had my keys, and I went to go get my car, but I looked up and I saw that there was this aircraft letting out like chemtrails or trails, right? And I'm big on this because it's something the Lord showed me, and I heard they're poisoning people. I heard that loud and clear. This was probably a year ago. So, you know, you see these all over the place in the sky like crazy, and every day all over town, and it's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but hey, everything lately that's been coming to pass was first a conspiracy, right? Anyways, I saw this up in the sky, and I saw these trails coming out, and they were really wide. They were big, thicker than the normal ones I normally see. And then they started to turn black. They started to turn black, and it was as if it had a life. It was like almost like an animal. It didn't look like the shape of an animal, but it was like this thick black smoke moving through the air like on a mission. And then that smoke started to turn into a black dragon. The smoke was turning into this black dragon, and the dragon was going so fast through the air like it had this purpose to go do what it was going to do. And I kept like yelling, does anybody see this? Does anybody see what's going on? And nobody was listening, right? Just like in real life, you tell people and they're like, ha ha, you know, or they're just like, whatever, you're crazy with this already. People are not listening. And so then anyway, I wake up from that dream, and I'm taking my daughter to school, and I'm listening to my program. It's early in the morning, and she interrupts it, and she's like, Mom, I forgot to tell you I had this dream. It was like so real. And my daughter she's had like 3 dreams that are prophetic, and it's the only time she remembers her dreams. And so I just was alarmed, and in my mind quickly I had this thought like, what if she dreamt the same thing I did? That'd be crazy. But that was too crazy to even think, right? So I'm letting her talk, and she's like, I dreamt that this plane, this aircraft was letting out like chemtrails. And I was just like, what? And so then she's like, it's letting out these trails, and it's like thick smoke coming out, and with it were these like big birds. They were like eagles, and they were coming out too, and they were going and letting out this black stuff in the air. And I looked down, I was out in the middle of the field with people, and it was like attaching to people's skin. They were like black bugs. And I was like, oh my God, there were 2 planes in her dream going like in the opposite direction, smoke trails coming out of those with like these eagles. And I was like, how do you know it was an eagle? And she's like, because it had like the white head, and then the rest of the body was dark like an eagle. Like, she's like, I just knew it was an eagle. But it was a lot of them, and they were dropping things down, and they were like bugs. She's like, I looked down and they were attaching to people's skin, and I had one on my arm. They were black. And I was like, okay, well, eagle is the bird of like the United States. If you know, you have to like pick every detail in dreams. And so bugs represent like plague, sickness, disease, anything like that. And so I was like, wow, this is just incredible, like the way we both had that dream. Come on, like that's crazy. And all that to just say, like, God is really moving. He's calling us to intercede on behalf of what's going on in the United States. Be prayerful, because there are things going on that people don't even realize, and it may sound crazy to you, but you have got to be in prayer. This is not by chance. This is not. God said in the end days he would be pouring out his spirit on all flesh, and we would be having dreams and visions. So be encouraged. I love you guys.